now we do a brief segue to this topic called access control. This one is the last topic before we move on to accounts receivable, which is the last topic of the session one. Okay, so accounts access control is going to show you guys how to control the access of each user, how to do a admin setup inside the system to determine which modules a certain user can access and what actions they can perform. Yeah. Give me a second. I'm just going to go to the respective slide. Okay, excuse me. Okay. So there are two things to take note of. Okay, so this one is under maintenance, access control. The two modules that we need to take note of is just user and role. Okay. So user is the login account itself. And for each user login, there are roles that you can apply to that login. So these roles, each user can have multiple roles or just one role. Um, these roles will grant permissions to this user login. So let's say this role lets you access the sales modules. This role lets you access the purchase modules, for example. Yeah. So next we need to do is need to take note of his roles lah. Yeah. So to create a new role, there can be different methodologies to different schools of thoughts lah. So sometimes you can just create a role. The simplest way is to create one role for each user, and each user only has that one role that was created for them. Second one is to create one role for, let's say, each module or each action, like each level of permission. So for example, let's say there's a role for intern. So interns can only access, let's say, sales and purchase document entry, and they can only view and print. They cannot do anything like creating a new entry. They cannot delete. They cannot edit. Yeah. So that's just one example. And then let's say the next role is for full-time staff. Let's say sales team. They can do all actions. And then let's say there is a management level. They can also access reporting and all that stuff. Yeah. So then another method, I guess, is these two methods, lor. One role per user or one role per actual role and level of clearance. So by the second method, each user may have more than one role. Yeah. I guess another one is one role for each section. So let's say there's a role for the whole sales activity, there's a role for the whole purchase activity, there's a role for the whole adjustment and report activity, etc. So let's say a full-time staff under sales team only have the role for sales. Same for purchase, only for purchase. Let's say accountant, you give them all three, including adjustment because they need to do some auditing. Let's say management, they don't really do entry, so you just give them adjustment and report. Okay, but that's just for the different schools of thought that you can follow while creating the structure for the access control. But for the actual creating the role itself, this is how you do it. So let's say we're just going with the second method, okay? So the second method is, or the last method, we just say one role for each of these activity. So let's say the code is sales. Oh, sorry, yeah, sales. The name, let's say we put sales activity. Okay, so for sales, the modules are quotation to receipt. So we put quotation to receipt over here. You can see here on the left hand side, left hand column, it is a list of modules for each activity. So I think starting from sales as quotation to receipt, and then purchase as purchase order to petty cash. And then the next activity is adjustment. There's these three. The next one openings. There's these five. So this is the rough order of all the modules in the system. Yeah. So it's not by alphabetical order. It is based on the order you see on the actual menu here. Okay. But I digress. So let's say we want to put full access for sales, right? We can select and drag from quotation to receipt, and then we give all permissions here. So the different permissions that you can grant over here is a permission to read the items, the things inside that module. You can give permission to create a new document, to edit existing document, to delete or void existing documents, to print and to preview, to check the history log, or to click on the document listing report. So these are all the different permissions you can grant. So let's say sales here, we add. And then let's say, just for the sake of example, I'm going to create my own purchase view only. So for purchase, it's purchase order to petty cash. Let's say they can read and they can only print. Okay, so now I'm going to create a new user login. Now let's say user one. Oh, need more rows. Okay, I have the row of full access for sales and view only access or purchase. Okay, these two rows I add. So now I'll just show you what it looks like to be have those permissions applied to you lah. Okay, so I log in like that. So now with the limited permissions, I can see sales. I can still see every module. I can do every action because I have full access to sales module. But if I go to purchases, I can still see all of them, but I cannot create any new documents. I can see the existing documents. I can click view to read them. But I can see I cannot update them. I cannot edit them. I can print them. I cannot void them or delete them. I cannot generate report, and I cannot view the history. Yeah, because these other buttons are not allowed to access. They're all grayed out. And if I go to a module where I don't have access to even read anything, I go to the menu here. I cannot see any module under adjustments, none under reports, none under setup. So that is the access control. Yeah, that is the access control, how you use it. Okay, so next topic. Okay, now we're going on to accounts receivable.